Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world, the world away. We're now doing issue 10 of IXO Collections, Build the Peugeot 205 1.9 GTI. Now, issue 10 encompasses stages 25, 26, 27 and 28, which we're going to do now. And I am just going to give you a quick review of what we built up to this stage at the moment. But if you want to get hold of this yourself, I've put the link for IXO Collections just down the bottom there. You can go over there, you can get this all the way from issue 1. They are a French company, so the magazines you get are in French, as you see here. But if you go over to the IXO Collections website, you're based in the UK, all the instructions and everything is in English on there. And if you are in the UK, you can order this from abroad. I believe the payment options are in euros though, but don't let that put you off, because this is one of the best car builds I've done on the channel. But let me show you what we've got up to so far. So we've got the main chassis here. We put the floor pan in the last stages. Here's the engine here, and if I show you that on the close-up camera, just look how detailed that is. What we're going to be working on in this stage is we're going to be putting a lot of details on what they're calling the firewall, the bulkhead, the rear engine bay, call it whatever you like. But we put the expansion bottle on here as well. We're going to be putting a lot more details on this, and we're actually going to be mounting that to the vehicle. We had also previously, on previous issues, done the steering wheel here. That's metal. We've also done a lot of parts for the front area of the car. So we've got the headlights, we've got the grille, and we've also got the bumper trim, which looks just like that. And then the last thing we've got, which I believe came in the very first stage, is the bonnet looking like that. So what we're going to do is start issue 25. I'm going to do that now. Let's get cracking. So to start issue 25, we're going to have the brake fluid reservoir there, and we also need the reservoir cap. Looks like that, and this is just a push to fit just on top of that there. We're then going to attach this to the master cylinder here, and one side of this does have a little keyhole pattern in there, so it is apparent what way round this is actually going to go. So it's going to go, get it in, probably hold itself in actually, just like that. See, it can hold itself in. We are going to be putting a screw in that just on the other side to keep that in though, and the screw is a CP screw. They come in this pack, so let's get this open. So screwing it in just from the other side there. Start slow on these plastic parts, otherwise the piece tends to move like you just saw there. Probably best to actually just lay it flat and screw it in. And when that's in, it should look just like that. So we're going to be taking the cylinder, we're going to be putting this into the booster here. Now it can go in any way, but if you just revolve it, you'll feel a point where it actually stops moving. That's the way that it goes. So then we want to bring over the bulkhead, or the firewall, that's they're calling it. It's actually just going to go in this side of the bulkhead. So we're just going to put this in, making sure that the reservoir is facing upwards like that. And it's going to be secured from the other side here, once again, with a CP screw. Definitely need a few pair of hands for this, but we'll get that in there. Definitely need a few pair of hands for this, but we'll get that in and make that nice and tight. And there we go. That's the brake reservoir in place. Now we've got another clip to put in place here. That's just going to go by the expansion bottle on this side. You can see we've got two holes there. It's going to face this way round, and it's just going to go into that socket there. A little bit fiddly because the expansion bottle is kind of in the way to keep that in there, but it is going to be held in with an AM screw. So I'm just going to line this up over the screw hole there, and we'll get this in. Nice and tight, and there we go. That's that clip in place there. And then we're going to be taking one of the brake lines that come in this pack looking like this. Now we want the longer one, so we want this one here. They label it as 25F. It's going to go behind the expansion tank here, through the clip that we just put in, and we're going to be attaching it to the master cylinder just on the first pin that we can see just there. Going to push that on. There we go, and that's the first brake line in place there. Then we're going to take the next lead, which is the smaller one, which is the other side rear brake line. And that's going to go into the other side. So if I show you on the top camera, we've got 2 leads going into that cylinder now. And looking at that on the close-up camera, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now, stage 26, we're going to be working on the air filter here. So the first couple of parts we look like is just one of the vents or hoses that are coming from the air filter. We're just going to piece these together. As you see, we've got lugs on each side, so it's just a case of pressing and fitting them together, but we do need to put a couple of screws just into the holes here. Those screws are AP screws, so I've got them here, quite a few in this pack, so I'm guessing we're going to be using a few of these, and we'll get this screwed in. That's one more. And that there is 2. Before I continue, just look at the detail on that. I mean, we haven't got to paint this, it's already been done. That looks really good. Then we want to take these 2 sections of the filter, and this hose here is actually just going to go underneath this section here, and once again it's going to be held in with an AP screw. Just one this time, just through this hole here, so we get that screwed in nice and tight. Then we're going to be putting the top half of that pipe over the top like that. That's once again 2 screws there, which are AP screws. So one through here, and one the other side, just like that. And then we're going to close the top with the top section here, and it's going to match the other side perfectly. So we just need to make sure we put this in the right way, like that. So we've got a hole in one side, and it's going to be held in with 1 screw, and yes, you've guessed it, it's an AP screw again, just through the top there. And there we go, that looks just like that. We do have 1 more screw to put in, which is just at the back here. That pipe had 3 screws, not 2. That was a little bit deceiving. But there we go. That should look just like that. We could put that to one side, and we're going to be bringing over the bulkhead again, because we've got a metal bracket. This is metal, just to put into the bulkhead. Now that's going to go in these 2 holes that we can just see down the bottom, and it goes this way round. So this is actually just going to sit onto this section, just like that. So the indent is over that notch that you can see in the bulkhead there. That's going to be put in with AM screws. So I've got them here. I'm just going to drop that in just a tiny bit of oil, because we are putting this into metal. I put 1 in, but not tight, just so I can line this up. A little bit of oil there again. And there's the second one. So now we can fully tighten this bracket. Excellent. We then want to take the air filter housing. As you can see, we've got 2 lugs just on the bottom there. That's going to go into the 2 holes of the support that we just put in place here. So that's just going to go on top, just like that. It's going to be secured from the underside here with, you guessed it, AP screws. So here's the first one. Just enough to hold that into place, and put the second one in just on the other side here, line that up, and that goes in perfectly, and then we could just tighten these completely up. There we go. That's the air filter into place. Now I've just brought over the chassis because we are about to fit the Firewall, and I want to make sure that we've identified some of the parts that we need to make sure fit into this. So we've got the plastic section here, which is the heater cooler pipe. This is that large plastic section. As a matter of fact, if I get the close-up camera there, you can see it there. And we also need the brake line. So we've got 1 brake line from this side wheel is here, and from the other side wheel, which I'd lost for a second, is this longer lead here. So I've got 2 brake lines, a cooling cable there. So things are about to get very, very tricky because we're about to put the Firewall on here. Now, we've got some brake cables coming from this tyre here first, which is going to have to go behind the expansion tank here, and it's going to be plugged into the other side of the master cylinder here. So this is that brake cable here, and that's just going to go behind through the clip that we put in, so it comes out the other side here, just like that. And then that, when I've just put this over the top of the steering mechanism here, once I've got it all the way through, there you go, is going to go into the other side, very tricky this is, of the slave cylinder, just there. So that one's in perfectly. I'm going to show you that on the camera there. So we've got two in on this side. Now, the brake cable that's coming from this side, which is just down here, just getting it up, is going to go into the other side of the master cylinder. Just going very slow and gentle with this because I don't want any of these wires coming out or these pipes coming out. So now the master cylinder has got leads on for all four brake lines. Now the ones that we've got for the rear ones here are going to go on the front of the bulkhead, just through the hole at the bottom there, to be pushed through to the center of the vehicle. So I'm going to do that now. That's one. I'm just going to grab it from the other side here and pull that all the way through. Just like that. Make sure there's no knots. All the way to the back. Excellent. And we're going to do the same with the brake line on the other side. So I'm going to put that through the bottom there. So we've got the two brake lines, as you can see, coming out the rear of the vehicle. So before I put this bulkhead in, we've got the four brake lines in. Now we've got the coolant hose, which was coming from the engine, just needs to go onto this sort of nipple just on the firewall there. So I've got my tweezers. I'm going to push that into place. But let's get this into place. All of that is going to be held in with BM screws. So I've got them here, and I'm very eager to get this put in so it doesn't move. So we've got two just in this section here. I have put a little bit of oil in them, but that's one in. That's now kept this firewall into place. One just the other side here. Oh, it's only two screws. I thought it was more than that. It felt like more, so I'm just going to make them nice and tight. There we go, and they're in place. And then we're going to need to turn the vehicle over, being very careful not to damage anything, because we're just going to tidy up these wires that we've now got passing underneath the vehicle here. I am going to have them going underneath this bar, so bear with me while I just do that. So they're running down the channel of the car now. There we go. And basically the two leads that are coming from the left hand side of the vehicle go through this channel here. So here's the first one, two. It's like doing needlework. And finally at the back there, that's three. And then the one coming from this side of the vehicle here is just going to go through the clips that we put in before, just down the center here. So that's one. Make sure there's no pinches in there. There we go. And two. So they're coming out the back of the vehicle. So we know we've got three pipes going down the full length of the car. I'm just going to turn this back over again. Now, the cable that's coming out the expansion tank here is just going to go into the nipple that we can see on the front of the radiator there. So I've got my tweezers here. Going to hopefully help me line that up to get that in. Just like that, and that one's in place. Now the cable that's coming from the bulkhead here is just going to go into the nipple that we can see just here. So I'm going to sort of push this wire down a bit. Hopefully it won't fall out, so I can get this wire over the top. I will tidy the wires up afterwards, and we'll slip this one just into that hole there. Did I say hole? I meant nipple. So there we go. They're both in place. Now we have still got 3 vacant lines in this section, just so you know. So we've got this one here coming from this bottle. We've also got the aerated line coming from here. And then we've got the pipe coming from the other side of this manifold here. And with this part that we've got left over, that's all there is to do in that stage. That was tough. It wasn't tough putting the firewall in, but just trying to identify the cables and put them into place. But look at the pictures and just take time over that. You shouldn't have too much of a problem. So in stage 27, we're going to be working on the throttle position sensor and also an airflow meter. So I'm just going to get these out. And the first thing we need are these 2 sections here. We want the airflow meter cap, which is just going to go on top of this section here. It can only go on one way. We've got 2 lugs and it's just a push to fit. And as you can see, push that together just like that. In the semicircular side of this, we've got a pipe to put in, looking like that. Again, this can only go in one way. So push that in. It's quite a tight fit, but it will go in there. There we go, just like that. And then we want to take the throttle body looking like that. We're going to be putting 2 links either side of the body into the 2 holes that we can see here, and on the other side we've got 1 hole there. Now there is a little notch in there just to help you line this up. So here's the first one going in. I'm going to put that in this side here and then push that home so that clips in. Do the same on the other side again, noting where the lugs are so we can line this up. So this is one's going in just like that. That was actually more fiddly than it should have been. Now we just need to identify ends here. This end here next to the lug, which is thicker there, is what's going to go into the pipe here. So this is going to go in this way. I'm just going to push that in like that. And then if I turn it upside down, you can see we've got some holes in there. The pipe that we made in the last stage is going to go into here. That's just going to fit over the top like that, and it's going to be held in with an AP screw. So I've got that here. And I'll screw that into place. Make sure that's lined up correctly. Nice and tight. And there we go. That now looks just like that. And then we're going to be bringing over the engine of the vehicle again. This is going to be going this way round, and it's going to pass underneath this hose section here. So we put it underneath this section here, just like this. One side is going to connect to one side of the air filter there. Plug that in. And the other side is just going to the manifold here. Now the vent that was coming off this side of the engine here, as a matter of fact, if I turn this round on the close-up, as you can see, just off the front here, it's just going to go into the nipple just at the front there. It goes over the top of this cable here, so I'll get that in now, just like that. And then this vacuum hose we've got here is just going to go into the other side of the brake cylinder at the back there. So that will go all the way in there. Push that in. And there you go. That means the only cable that we got coming out now, I believe, is this cable here from the expansion tank. And I'm just looking around. I don't think I've got any other loose cables. So we're pretty much good to go. But that is so detailed. Check that out. But that's all there is to do in that stage. Again, we'll put that to one side, because the last stage we've got in this one here, which is stage 28, we'll get this open. And this is all about the battery. So we've got the battery case here. We're going to be putting a base to that, which looks just like this. Now it's going to line up with the lugs just at the top there. I did call that the base. This is actually the top, because obviously you've got the terminals there. But it is going to be secured in from the other side here, just with some AP screws. And there's 2 holes to put them through, just at the base there. So here's the first one. Nice and tight. And we've got the second one here, just to go in the other side. to keep that all into place. Now on the top of this, we've got a couple of terminals to put in. So on this side here, we've got the positive terminal, which is very, very tiny. But I'm just going to push this in. I think it is actually shaped. So I'm going to get my glasses on to check that. It was shaped, but there you go. That's that terminal in. And then we've got the negative terminal just going on the other side here. So that just fits in, push to fit, just like that. They do want us to reinforce that with an AP screw, which I've got here. We'll do that from the underside. And there you go. Make sure that that's pushed. It did take some effort to push that all the way down. Make sure that terminal's pushed all the way down. We're then going to take this whole battery terminal and put it onto the battery base this way round. So it's going to fit on just like that. And we're going to secure that in with AP screws just from the top. So I'll lie that there. Load up some AP screws. Now we have got some nipples just pointing up on each side. We don't do anything with them at the moment. But here's the first side going in. Make that nice and tight. One more just for the other side there. There you go. Now we've got a couple of little cables here. These are just going to go from the negative side here, just like that. That's just going to go onto the nipple down the bottom. So I'll use my tweezers just to help me to put that in there. Like that. Likewise, we're going to do the same with the front positive terminal. So one side's going over there. The second side is going to the nipple that's closest to the screw hole there. So again, I'll hold that, put that into place. Can you see how detailed this actually is now? But there you go, that's the battery complete. And now we're just going to mount this to the vehicle, which means first off, I'm going to need to get these BM screws ready. Put that over here. Bring over the vehicle, and the battery is just going to go, if I show you here where this expansion bottle is, you can see we've got a couple of lugs just in there. That's where it's going to be dropped in and screwed in. So we want to put it around this way with the terminals facing away from the expansion bottle. A little bit fiddly, but we'll get that in there and put it over the top of the lugs. I'm going to secure that in with some BM screws. So I think if we do the tricky one on this side first, and then tighten the whole battery area down. That's one. Tighten this one down too. And there you go. That's nice and secure in place. Turn that off. Connect this wire back up just to the cylinder at the back there. And there you go. So the only wire we've got free now is just this one coming from the expansion bottle there. But that is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. So fiddly, not putting the parts in, but playing with those pipes and wires, all fiddly, but it's looking impressive. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is definitely the most detailed build I think I've done for a 1.8 car, definitely. But if you like that and you want to get this for yourself, once again, I'll put the link for IXO collections down there. You can go over to those websites. You could order this all the way from issue 1. But I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.